Welcome to BISP Solution. In the concluding series related to transaction in fixed assets. So let's move to the webinar agenda. In the day 6, the concluding session of this webinar, the physical inventory process. We will go through the physical inventory process. Then we will go through the period closure process of asset, and in the last we will go with the fixed asset related reports, the seeded reports you can view from ESS page. So this is the today's agenda. So physical inventory process is the first agenda of today's webinar. Then we will go with the period closure process. And the process, we will understand the period closure process in the fixed assets, and then we will view the related reports, that fixed assets reports, various reports, transactional as well as mass copying report, reconciliation reports. All those reports we will view. The seeded reports which Oracle provides, we will view that. So moving to the next slide. So use of physical inventory feature. You first take a physical count of your asset. You need to include the following information about your asset while taking: a unique identifier, which might be your asset number, asset description, or right, so that is the asset, or tag number, or a serial number, right? So that is the unique, and the location. The foremost thing is the location. So the prerequisite for that: allow physical inventory options for your asset book. Then ensure that all physical inventory checkbox is checked for all asset in the asset book for asset including physical inventory for comparison. Right, so that is the 2 steps we required for prerequisite. Right, so that is allow the physical inventory option for your asset book, and ensure that in physical inventory checkbox is checked for all assets in asset book for asset including in physical inventory comparison. There are 2 methods for loading for a physical asset in inventory comparison process. One is ADFDI spreadsheet, and another one is FBDI spreadsheet. Right, so we will use ADFDI sheet for our demonstration purpose. So let us now we will see that the PI, which the physical inventory done by the business user, they have provided that particular file. Let me open that particular file. Just hold on. Let us open that particular file. So these are the asset number and the asset description they have provided, and the physical unit they have provided, and they have provided the location, right? So that is the location they have provided, and we had to enter this in the application to see there is any deviation with that particular count or location is there, any changes are there. We will check it out in the application. So let us navigate to the application now. So let me log in with the user credential. From navigator, navigate to your asset work area, fixed asset work area. From the task panel, so let me change my book. So that is US crop book. So my open period is July 23 is my open period. Let me, from the task panel, manage physical inventory. Go to the manage physical inventory. So enter. Select the enter. Select your book, that is US crop book, and provide the inventory name. I will say PI dated 31st/07/2023, right? So that is my physical inventory name, PI dated 31st/7/023, right? That is the PI number, PI file name I am giving. One ADFDI file will be downloaded. Let me download and open that. Let me log in with the credential, user credential. So you can see the book name is populated and the inventory name, what we have provided in that. While entering the inventory name, that inventory name it is showing off, right? So the status is new, and we have to provide, as you can see, the asterisk, the 2 asterisk is given, that is at least one is required. That is, either you provide the asset number, tag number, or serial number. Any of this you can provide. So as per the file, the asset number is been provided and the description thereon they have given, and they have given the physical units and the location of that particular inventory, right? So we will enter those things in this particular sheet, and you can view that location. You have to provide the location and the unit in physical inventory, right? So that is in the physical inventory. You have to provide these things, and the inventory taken date. There, your open date, that is your open inventory, your book in when it is open, that open date, inventory date you have to provide. The other things are optional, that asset model, asset manufacturing, you want to update that, you can do through this also. So let us quickly provide that particular detail. We will copy from here. Let me copy that. Let me provide that. So I have provided that, and in the location they are given the physical, right? So that I will put the physical count. Here we are. The count is there. So count has been provided, and the location. So this is the location. I'll just copy that, and from here I will copy the same. There we are. So that is being provided, right? So that has been provided. Yeah, anything? Yeah, physical inventory date I will provide as my July period, that is 31st, right? So that is 31st is my inventory date. Let me check it out. They have provided that. Yeah, that is the 31st. The 31st is the inventory date they had taken, physical inventory date taken on, and everything looks good. And status I will select as new, right? So that is, let me select as new, right? So submit that. Status as new, I will submit the same. Let us submit. The row inserted successfully. The status has shown, row has been successfully submitted, and the process ID has been generated, that is 6345597 has been generated, the process ID. Now let us move to the application now to see. Just cancel that, refresh that. Yeah, you can see that it is fully matched, right? So you can see the vehicle heavy, the category, it has been, if there is any difference, it would show a different status, and you have to rectify that. So that is assigned 1, and there is a 4 assignments. So that is the 4 assignment, it is fully matched, then there is no issue on that. So let us view in the application, in the each asset, how the things has changed, right? So let us select one of the asset. Let me take one of the assets, say this one, right? So let us take this one, and done with that. Yes, let us go to inquire asset. Go to the inquire asset, provide the asset number and search with that. Here we are. So that is the asset, and from here if I go to the assignment, let me check with the assignment. Yes, so it has showing that inventory taken on is this. So location is US, Illinois, Chicago office. Let me check with that. Here it is, and the physical inventory date has been showing off. And if I go to the transaction level, so if I go to the transactional level, there is no changes out here, right? So if there is any change into that, it will definitely going to change, right? So that is the inventory. PI we have done the physical inventory, the inventory taken, it has been uploaded, and every is fully matched. If there is any differences is there, then we had to rectify those entries and prepare that, and again we had to match that. Until that match has happened, we can't, automatically the system will match fully, then only we will able to say that the system has matched with the physical inventory, right? So that is, the status will be shown as transactional pending, or might be a rectification difference is there that you have to rectify. So in the infolet, if you go to the infolet, in the infolet it will show that the transfers, the adjustments, you have to do the transfers. If there is any location difference is there, then you have to enter the transfer, and you have to prepare the transfer from here. And there is any adjustment related to the quantity, or say any less quantity is there, then it will show in the adjustment, right? So that unit adjustment you have to do. So we had entered the physical quantity of the asset, that is asset fully matched, as you can see from the manage physical inventory. So the status is fully matched, right? So that's why we are able to, let's see 1-2 more assets towards that. Let me check out with other asset also. Let me check the lorry truck. It is 10 quantities, unit is 10, and location is US, California, Atlanta office. Let us view that. So that is in heavy vehicle, that will be in the heavy vehicle. Let me check out with that. Navigate to under the general, inquire asset, go to the inquire asset, and from here you will search with the asset. You can search with multiple assets also. So let me go to the assignment. Here we are. So it is in Atlanta office, right? So that is location is matched, and the quantity it has matched, right? So that is, and the cost history you can see that, right? So there is some adjustment is there, that is in previous, in January. So in the July we have done the PI, that is physical inventory we had taken, that is the date is coming, right? So that is how the physical inventory we have to take in the application, and there are various status can be shown in the asset is not in the book. That means that asset number does not exist in the asset book. We had to enter the manually that asset into the book. So we had not booked that particular, and in the physical inventory it is showing off. So we had to check it out, rectify that, and update that accordingly. Reflect or delete, there might be a status where it shows as a delete. It reflects the status for the user to ignore the batch, and there is a one status which shows as multiple match, reflects that there are multiple asset numbers loaded in the same batch. If you using the batch, right? So that is the thing. And non-inventory asset, in the inventory there was non-flagged as a physical inventory in the descriptive detail, right? So we have not selected as physical inventory checked out. So if I go to manage setup and maintenance, go to the fixed assets, the prerequisites, that is manage books. In the manage books, associate crop book, that is my US crop book, and from here select that book and allow physical inventory, that should be checked in. And the next is you should check out manage asset category. Go to the manage asset category, select your book, that is US crop book, search with that. So is a vehicle standard or say vehicle heavy? So you can see that, select your book out here. So in physical inventory, right? So that is one of that, right? So that while creating the inventory also you checked it out in physical, right? So that is in the physical. So this is all about the physical inventory. Now moving to the next topic, that is period closure in the fixed assets. So let us move to that. So period closure, let's move to the PPT now. So asset period closure, here is some order in which to close the books in Oracle Fusion. You can see the closure payable before procurement. This is done to take into the account of purchasing accruals at the period end to accrue the expenses on uninvoiced receipts. Close payables before closing inventory. This ensures that the uninvoiced accruals entry is accurate. Close payable before close fixed assets. This is done to ensure that invoices are completed and capital invoice lines or distributions are transferred from payables to fixed assets. Closed payable before closing project. This is to ensure invoices and expenses reports are completed and transferred to project. Now close procurement before closing inventory. This is to allow miscellaneous transaction corrections in inventory. Close inventory before closing project so that the project related inventory transactions are completed and imported into projects. Transfer all relevant project cost to fixed assets, then transfer revenue to the receivables before closing the fixed assets and receivables. And last not least, close all sub-ledger application before closing the general ledger. So this is all about the period closure of the books in Oracle Fusion. Now let's move to the asset closure, fixed asset closure. So closing of fixed assets in Oracle Fusion. The process of closing the fixed asset module every month should be simpler and easy. Once a period has been closed, it can be reopened. It can't be reopened, sorry. This can be beneficial or detrimental depending how well your team manages to track asset each month. To ensure that the module is closed correctly, there are few steps to follow. Ensure that the create mass addition process has been submitted through the payables work area. This ensures that any invoice assets have been pushed through to the fixed asset module and can be processed accordingly. Once all assets are in the module, that is fixed asset module, process them as needed, capitalize, classify, update the financials or descriptions, details, descriptive details you can update, and other things, and so on. Run create accounting process. This will allow all the new added assets and give the opportunity to see what is outstanding so you can and your team can resolve any issues. Run depreciation. The easy to run the depreciation is to simple as click as button. The depreciation infolet provides a summary of all period, books, ledger, depreciation and asset information so that you can quickly review of what happened in this month or say pertaining to that month. You can optionally choose to run depreciation as a standalone process, or you can run it for close mode, which kicks off the depreciation process as well as the closure of the book. Of course, if you prefer to run the depreciation separately from the closure period, you can do so. That is as well. This is the final step and is simply here to tell you the closure of the period. So let us move to the application. So from the task, from the navigator, let us navigate to the asset work area. So before closure of that, first of all, you will transfer the asset from payables to the asset interface line, and from here you will, from the task panel, you will prepare the source line by providing the depreciation category associated with that particular depreciation that is associated with that particular category, and location and date, place in service, and then you do the post mass addition process. This will add the asset to your asset book. In the month you will adjust the asset, say you do the adjust the asset by providing the employee name to that particular, or say description updation is there is any change in the category is there, and you can do the revaluation, or you can impair the asset of the previously added the asset which is asset. You can retire the asset, or which wrongly retired the asset can be reinstated also, right? So these activities you can do, or you can transfer the asset from one location to another location. So that is transfer the asset you can do. these activities you do during the period, any month period, and after that you run the depreciation. Right, so that is my open period. If I go out here, the complete addition, it gives you the period detail, the period closure date, the book class, and the ledger which is associated with that particular book. Then the number of assets has been added to this book, and the retired, right? So retirement of the asset, number of assets which has been retired, referred to this particular US crop book, and the last depreciation you run, and the mass addition process last you run. So you can calculate the depreciation. It will trigger the depreciation calculation, right? So, and if you following the lease assets, then you can calculate lease expenses. So select that, say OK, and after that you will run create accounting process, right? So you will run the create accounting process, and after that you will select period close, right? So let me select that, create accounting, select, just too long, US crop, summary, I will select detailed and submit that. So you can view the process through ESS page. You can review the process. Let me, from the tools, schedule processes, and from here you can review the process. You can view the execution report also. This is related to the periodic lease expenses. So that is related to previous periods as in a demo application. So you can see the error. So these are the errors. You have to rectify that errors. Then only you able to close the periods. Right. So these all are related to lease assets. So periodic expenses, lease assets, right? So and you can view the accounting. Go to the fixed assets, go to the asset work area, or you can go to the general ledger, GL, general ledger accounting, go to the journals, and through manage journals change that particular data access set to US primary. So that is US primary ledger. Say OK, and from here select, it's a ledger set, it's not a ledger set, and US primary ledger, select that. From selecting manage journals, and my period is 07/23 and the source is assets, and search with that. So you can view the asset, everything has been posted, the various category, that is addition, adjustment, depreciation, lease expenses, retirement, right? So that is the retirement of assets which will happen in the month of July, right? So that is how the things are being performed. So you can close the period, go to the asset, and from here you can select and close the period. The depreciation program will close the period. You can't reopen it. Do you want to continue? Let's say period close, say yes. So depreciation has been submitted, right? So depreciation has been submitted. We will run the create accounting process. Select that US crop, and the period is, you can see this August is coming. Select as July, submit the same. You can see now the August period is open, and if I close this period also, calculate depreciation or calculate lease expenses, and I close the period also. So there is no asset in the August, so I close that particular period also. I can open that this period also. So if I go out here, you can view. If there is no asset has been added, I can reopen that. So you can see the September period is my open period, but in August there is no asset has been added. So how to open that particular period of August? If I want to enter that particular in the August period where I have not entered a single asset out there. So go to the manage all books. Go to the manage all books and asset book monitor. If you go to the asset book monitor, so you can see that calculate depreciate, create accounting, close the period, open the previous period, right? So there is no asset added in the previous. Let open that also. The period will reopen if no transaction were performed and depreciation wasn't calculated for the open period. Do you want to open? You say yes. So let me check it out. If I have run the depreciation, it will not open that. I'm just able to see that. Here we are. The August period has been open again. We have not run the depreciation, right? So that is why it reopens that particular period through manage all books. right? So that is how the things are reopened the period. If there is no single asset has been added or transferred or anything you have not done in that particular, but you just close that particular period, then only you can open that particular period, right? So that is the thing. So let us move to the last of our webinar, that is Oracle predefined reports. So let us move to the PPT now. I will make you walk through the Oracle asset predefined reports. Some of the transactional reports, some are the mass additional reports, some are the reconciliation reports, and some are the group reports. So these are the some of the reports. That is asset addition report. From the ESS page, you can go through that asset addition process. So let us navigate to the application and view that particular report. Just hold on. From the navigator, let us navigate the tools, schedule process, schedule new process, that is asset ATD addition report. So that is asset addition report. So what it does, the list of all asset added or capitalized during the specific period, sort by and group total of each balance segments, asset type, asset account, and cost center and reserve account. So let me select that one of that particular report. So that is my US crop book, and this is the US dollars, and my addition will be in the month of July. Let me select the period July and submit the same. The process has been submitted. Let me review additional reports. Let us view the other things. Addition by source report. So addition by source report is list of all the asset added or capitalized during the specific period and show the details of associated invoice line, right? So that is associated invoice line, where it is coming from. So that is the invoice line it shows. And if I go, and it's also sort total by source and balance segment, balancing segments, asset type, asset account, cost center, and asset number. If I want to see the asset retirement report, so asset retirement report, in which you will get the list of all the asset retirement performed during the specific period, sort by group total of each balancing segment, asset type, asset account, and cost center. So we have retired 3 assets, right? So we have added 4 assets. Let us view that particular report from here. I think so that has been completed, right? So it has been succeeded, and we will see the output also. Let's wait, and here we are. Select that in the HTML. So wow, it's showing only the period and the report is this much. So July, the total report is this. It doesn't group by, right? I'll go in the parameters. It should be grouped by. Anyhow, let us view the some other reports are there, right? Let me search for that. Let me view again. It's giving only the total. It should be grouped by. I don't know why it is showing like this. So let us view the another report also. Let me view the asset retirement. That is, we have asset retired report, retirement report. Let me search with that asset retirement, asset retirement report. So let me select that US crop, currency is US dollars, my specific period is July, and 3 asset we have retired, right? So we have retired 3 asset. So let me see the asset. Other things are not mandatory. Submit the same. Let us view the report now. Let's get succeeded now. Let us view the report. Here we are. It should look like this basically. So we have retired these assets. So you can see it should be more than that. This is 101. This is company 101. This is 101. 101. So this is the summary which is providing, right? So that is cost center wise, account, total asset type of capitalized, right? So that is the summary view. And let me view with this report out here. I view the report from here with this particular format. There are 2 formats, I think so. Both are seen. There are some partial retirement also. You can see P denotes that partial retirement, right? So that is also showing off. There is a partial retirement. There are full retirements also. If there is a full retirement, then P is denoted. So you can view that P is transaction, that means that partial retirement, and the transaction number means the reinstatement. If there is any reinstatement also, it is also showing off in this report. So this is the reinstatement of that particular asset also, right? So let us move to the next report also. So if we go to that retirement, then asset transaction history report. So at this asset transaction history report, you list of all transaction performed on selected asset or sort by asset number. You can view that, and you can view the asset transfer report. There is the list of the list of all asset transfer performed during the specific period, sort by asset number. CIP capitalized report, a list of CIP asset capitalized during the specific period, sort by and grouped total of each balancing segment and CIP cost account, cost center, and asset cost account. Cost adjustment report. This is the list of asset cost adjustment made during the specific period, sort by and grouped total for each balancing segment and asset type and asset cost account and cost center. Cost adjustment by source report. List of all asset cost adjustment made during the specific period, shows the detail of associated invoice lines, and sort and total by source, balancing segment, asset type, asset account, cost center, and asset number. Asset category change report. The list of all assets for which the asset category has been changed during the specific period. The sort by, group by total for each balancing segment, an asset account and asset number. Asset impair report. The list of impact of asset impaired transactions, display cost, new net book value, net selling price, value in use, impair loss amount of all the impaired asset is given book and depreciation period. Sort by asset number. Let us view that particular report. Asset impair report. Let us view that in the application. So let me run a report, that is asset impair. Asset impair report. Select your book, select your currency, select the period, say month of July, process ID, let us view that. Okay, so there is no impairment in that particular period. So let me view that. Is there any relevant entries have been done in that particular period? Let us view that. It succeeded. Let us view the report. Impairment report. No data found. Yes, there is no impairment. In which you got the asset number, impairment date, net selling price, value in use, goodwill amount, goodwill asset, cost, net book value before impairment, and impairment loss, right? So that is, there is no data is in that particular period, that's why it is not showing off. So let us view with the last not least, asset addition by responsibility report. So let us view that report. Asset additions by responsibility. Here we are. Say OK. So list of asset added or capitalized during the specific period shows the owners the location of each unit, sort and totaled by balancing segment, the asset type, asset account, cost center, and reserve account, right? So that is the report is all about. Let us select our book. Let me select our book, that is year's crop book. Select the currency, select the period, that is month of July, and the July period you can select from, say, let us take a July month, right? So let me select that. So there are various parameters from asset to asset, and you want to see the CIP asset, expense asset, or asset type. With the asset type also you can view the, you can provide the parameters, accordingly the report will be shown up. So let us view that report. Asset addition by responsibility. So let us view. So you can view that HTML. So you can see, so it has given that YTD balance, initial depreciation reserve, transaction number, location it is giving, asset category it is providing, the balancing segment, that is company or a legal entity, and the asset category it is giving, and the asset type which is capitalized, the account, asset account, the account number, and the cost center it is giving, the reserve account is also provided, and the asset is office extension, and the asset number it is giving out here, the date, place in service, the depreciation method, the life, the number of units, employee details if there is, location, initial cost, YTD balance, initial depreciation reserve, and the transaction number, right? So that is, it is providing in this particular report, right? So summary also is provided out here in the bottom level. So that is the summary. In the bottom level you get the summary out of here. That is the month of July. You have added the asset addition. We have added 3 assets, right? So that is 3 assets it has showing up. So if we go to the again PPT, you can see the create mass addition report. We have seen delete mass addition report, post mass addition report, right? So that we have seen the previous session also. Then there is a reconciliation related reports, that is cost clearing reconciliation reports. So it is basically list of all assets, addition and cost adjustment performed during the specific period of which the accounting entries are created for cost clearing account. And if I go to the cost detail report provides you with a list of asset level, asset cost, account balances for specific period. Then there is a cost summary report. It provides the list of cost account summary balances and specific period. Journal entry reserve ledger, list of asset depreciation account for specific period. And CIP detail report, it provides list of asset level CIP cost account balances for the specific period, which is sorted and grouped total for each balancing segment with CIP cost and cost center. CIP summary report, it is a list of CIP cost account summary balances for specific period. Reserve detail report, list of asset level, asset reserve and account balances for specific period. And reserve summary report is a list of reserve account summary balances for specific period. So there are a lot of reports are related to the reconciliation reports. Under the reconciliation reports, there is a revaluation reserve detail report, revaluation reserve summary report, asset balance register report. The asset balance register report is a list of initial cost, current reserve, year to date amount, depreciation rule, retirement for a range of assets for the specific corporate book and for each associated tax book. It's a very important report. And then the asset register report, the list of cost related details, current activity, retirement for every asset within the selected asset category. Then asset lease, if you following the lease assets, then you have a lease related reports. Some of the lease related reports are asset lease expenses report, in which the list of asset lease interest and expenses amount for specific period you can view. And through the lease liability report, it is a list of lease liability for specific period, which is sorted by or group total for each balancing segment and liability account and cost center. And there is a asset cost and reserve report also. You can view that, the list of asset cost and depreciation reserve balance to the asset or the cost center level. You can view that also. So these are all seeded reports, right? So now if I go to the group report, so if you asset are in group level, you are doing the asset group asset you are maintaining, then the group asset detail report is there. The list of group and its members of asset balances for specific fiscal year is used to comply with the various income tax requirements. Tax requirements is there. The group asset listing, the list of group asset balances for specific fiscal year is used to comply with Canadian capital cost allowance requirement. And the group asset summary report, the list of group asset balances for specific fiscal year is used to comply with Indian income tax requirement. So that is the specific requirement of certain countries. And the group asset detail report is also comply with the Indian income tax requirement, right? So that is related to the group reporting. So this concludes this webinar. Thanks for joining this webinar on the fixed asset related transaction process in the Fusion application. Thank you for joining this webinar.